Well, hello everyone. It's Bukeka. You know me, Bukeka Style, and we are here for another episode of On Stage on Fave Unite TV. And I cannot tell you how excited I am about this next guest. So, not only is she an amazing songstress, but she's also has a heart of gold. So, let me tell you a little bit about Ms. Ebony Fondren. Ebony Fondren is a dynamic vocalist who captivates audiences with her passionate performances and her unmatched energy on stage. Known for her precise interpretations of jazz standards, beautifully infused with a touch of R&B, Ebony lifts up every room she steps into. Her smooth Ebony lights up every room she steps into. Her smooth, sultry vocals and lyrical storytelling leave listeners entranced, craving more with every note. Please help me welcome Miss Ebony Fondren. Ebony, come on stage.
Woo!
Hello, how are you?
Well, oh my gosh. What an intro. Thank you.
Ebony, it is such a pleasure to have you on stage. We've been in this music game for a while, my dear, and you have just taken it to the next level. And so
Mhm.
we're really excited to know all about what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you stay so effervescently amazing, no matter where you are in the world, right? Exactly.
Oh goodness. I feel blessed that I get to do what I do, what I love for a living. And even though it has its ups and downs, at the end of the day, it's still um it's just who I am and it's what I am and the opportunity to be able to build and create and fall in love with it all over again, almost every time I get to step on stage. It's just if it's not, I think those who have other passions in their life understand what I'm saying. It's that thing that drives you from the core. Um, and so it just makes me happy, and so I've experienced a lot. I've dealt with loss and I've had great opportunities. And so it's really changed my perspective on how I approach being a performer and an entertainer and how I, share that out in the world. And that keeps me positive and that just keeps me, it keeps things in perspective, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for listeners unfamiliar with your work, how would you describe your music and your presence as an entertainer?
So I wear a lot of hats. My passion lies in jazz performance standards, but then I also like to put a little twist. So, jazz with soul and a dash R&B, like it says in my profile. I love to um perform, the songs of the music from the 20s and 30s and when it was created and the jazz vocalists who I we stand on their shoulders to be able to carry on their legacy, and I want to do that with pride and I want to honor it. So I'm going to dress up and I'm going to put a flower in my hair or wear a beautiful dress, and I'm going to carry myself with elegance and eloquence whenever I'm on stage, when I'm singing this music, because it means that much to me. Um, and then as an individual artist, I like to take sort of my influences throughout my life the influences that my, growing up in Chicago in a very musical home, having all of those different genres from Motown to gospel to, dusties to oldies to rock to country. Literally, my parents had the most eclectic record collection, and I'm so thankful for it because that
That you are from the Chicago area. What
yes.
brought you, if I might ask, to Kansas City? Was it anything to do with the music?
No, it wasn't. My dad started working for the Department of Justice when I was about 10. And then he got an opportunity to be on some special teams, and sort of that allotted us the opportunity to move around and for him to grow within the organization. That's one of the caveats of doing it. You have to be willing to move to progress. So where you have your military brats that move around the country, around the world, I called myself a government brat where we moved around around the country from state to state as he transferred to different prisons and different positions. And so when I was 11, we left Chicago. We moved from Chicago to Oakdale, Louisiana, to Lewisburg, West Virginia, to Tallahassee, Florida, and finally we landed in Kansas City, where I was only, at that time, I was still only the middle of my sophomore year. We had already done those moves. And so they decided to just stick around and let me graduate because I was really enjoying this high school, and had just started playing basketball and running track and getting into theater, and it was giving me an opportunity to sort of like get involved in these programs, and I really liked what I was doing. And so I think they just decided to stay because there are opportunities, I think, for them to continue moving. But bless them, they decided to stay and let me finish high school here. And then, of course, as soon as I went to college, they took off again. So, but yeah, so that's kind of music didn't move me here, but it was definitely, it's always been a part of my family's lives. And it's been that one thing that sort of like common denominator, even when, when we were moving and it was just us trying to figure out our way in a new, small, sometimes segregated, sometimes, we're the only black family, or one of a very few in our neighborhoods or in our, in the school that I'm going to. And so for us, music was always that sort of tie for us. Music was always playing in the family. We're always singing, always dancing and having dance parties and so I'm really thankful for that, the way that I grew up with music being such a uh, vital, foundational part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was the PhD brat. My dad was he was
Mm.
going from getting his master's to getting his doctorate and then going to this university and that university. So yeah, I get what that is
Yeah.
like. Ebony, you are a fixture in the Kansas City music scene. Um, one thing that I know is near and dear to your heart is the relationship with Everett Devan. And tell us about the influence and
Yes.
the mentorship of Everett as it shaped you as an artist.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know, Everett Devan was a master Hammond B3 organ player and music director, band leader, and he was from Colorado, and he moved to Kansas City in the late 70s, early 80s, and he did some touring and stuff. But so he had this reputation of working with vocalists and just sort of like training us up, and very unorthodox, but very much like the groove school of groove. He was the grooviest, crotchetiest, but sweetest, man. And he was like a Papa Bear. And so when I came on the scene right after college, I had already decided I was going to go to Kansas City and sing and do jazz. And so I was just like, well, I guess I'll go to jam sessions, I'll go to people's gigs, and I'll just like be, me. I was very naive, but very like green, and also but very eager and very like, hi, I want to be a jazz singer, like so I was going to, some of the clubs from back in the day, Jardines and a bunch of jam sessions, Jilly's, and so I met a guy by the name of Steve Matlock, and he said, you need to go find a man named Everett. And I think he wanted to hear me first to make sure that I had something to work with. So I, signed up, sang, and then he talked to me at the next break. And he was just like, all right. And he was very, very blunt. You need a tape recorder, notebook, these kinds of tapes, da 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 da, $75 a lesson. Here's my address. See you on Monday. I was like, okay.
Wow.
So we met every week. Uh, and every week I'd show up and I would sit. He had this in his home, he had this Hammond B3 organ, his whole setup. And he had a tower of CDs and a tower of tapes and notebooks and records and all kinds of stuff. And he would sit at his organ, and I would sit at the stool right by his organ, and he'd have a stack of CDs, and he'd hand them to me, and I had my notebook, and he said, okay, on this one you need to learn number one, number seven, and number 11. On this one you need to learn, and they were Sarah Vaughan, everybody from Sarah Vaughan to Ernestine Anderson to Shirley Horn to Etta Jones to just all of these, Irene Reid, just like, because he had listened to my voice, and so he had, I guess, sort of put together who it was that I sounded like and who he thought that I could learn from. And so, and then we went through, I learned all these songs. I come back, we went through, I push record, and we would just go through songs and we would talk about finding my key and different styles and how to talk to the band and how to count the band in and how to learn where I was in the song and how to call, you want to go back to the bridge, you want to go back to the top, you want to tag it 3 times, you want to keep it going, you want to count them in, you want to know where you are, you want to trade fours, you want to, stuff you don't,
You don't.
I didn't
Oh
go to
my
school for music,
gosh.
but that was my school
Yeah.
for a solid, the first 2 years. He was just throwing stuff at me. He did not put me on the bandstand and he told me, I'm not gonna put you on the bandstand till you know at least 75 songs. So I kept a notebook and I kept it in alphabetical order, and every day run away. If I were wise, I'd run away. But like a fool in love, I stay and pray you'll save your love for me. I can feel it, even when you're not here. Can't conceal it. till you know at least 75 songs. So I kept a notebook and I kept it in alphabetical order. And every day I would go home and I would learn these songs, print the lyrics, write my key at the top, kept the spreadsheet, and just added to it. And he would say, okay, you're in this key, but you can also do it in this key. And you can do it as a groove. You can do it as a swing. We can do it up tempo. We can do it as a Latin. And he would just throw different tempos at me and just mix it up. And so I'm just a sponge. And I put record and I would go back and listen to my tapes and take my notes.
Thank you for watching On Stage on Fave Unite TV. If you're new to Fave Unite TV and you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a comment below, give us a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. If you'd like to see more content from Fave Unite TV, go ahead and subscribe. We're here for Black stories and Black storytellers. We're showcasing the culture on Fave Unite TV.